Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. We're really excited to be sharing your AI career thinking partner session, and I am joined by Floyd Spencer today. He is a career coach and longtime expert in the space, and my personal coach as well. So, Floyd, why don't you say a few words? And
Yeah, thanks for putting this on, Shellen. I appreciate this a lot. Um, Shellen has these great ideas, and I like to really. She makes me look good from this, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. One of the questions that we kind of get, and just in general, and I guess I'm going to start with that, is this idea of what is an AI career thinking partner? What is all that about? And it's one of those terms that doesn't really have a big it doesn't have a clear picture in most people's minds. So what I wanted to do to start with was to give you guys an idea of what this would look like. And this isn't the one that we're going to build, but it is one that you will give you the idea. Then after this, we'll jump back into the presentation. We'll start there and get you caught up. But I wanted you to see what one looks like for us to get started anyway. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to share this screen real quick and give that a chance to come up and let you know that for the next 50 minutes, we're going to be working together to get this presentation put together. So we're shooting for a 50-minute time frame. So you're in and out in less than an hour. We will stick around after easily for another 30 minutes or more, I guess, if you guys need to. But that's extra for if you want to build this and you want to sit with us and talk through it and work on it together. There will be time to kind of begin this on your own. But anyway, goal 50 minutes, goal to have something written and introduce you to how to create your own AI agent. And in this case, it'll be a GPT. Now, we're going to start here because this is where I have landed in my journey. When I began my journey years and years ago, the only way that people could get career coaches was $5,000 or more. And you get a one-on-one career coach, and you get somebody there helping you and talking you through a mentor, partner, whatever you want to call it. But it just seemed unreasonable to the only way you got something good was for $5,000. It just seemed really unreasonable to me, and it meant that I couldn't scale. I couldn't help as many people as I wanted to. So I thought through it, started building AI agents, and that's where we kind of come to this whole thing. And anyway, what I have now created is a version of career coaching that you get one-on-one. You get 2 one-on-one calls per month, 45 minutes each. You get a group call, so on and so forth. But here's the key, and this is the reason I started here. I wanted you to see what agents you have access to, and then we'll talk through one of them. All right, landing page for floydspencer.com, and up at the top right is a member menu. I've logged in as me, as my personal self, and I've got a guided path, which is where my agents reside. So if you had access to my platform, you'd have access to, I think it's about 9 or 8 agents. We're building more each week, but we have these 8 to start with. Now, the idea, if you had me as a coach, we would go through these one by one. We'd kind of figure out where you are as you're starting. But then part of it would be to help identify your career superpower. So that's where I want to go right now. And so up here, this is the way you used to have to get this kind of information, but with AI, you can now get it this way. And I'm going to launch this. Now, again, this is specifically designed for helping my clients figure out on their own what is their superpower? What is the thing that helps them be, what are they good at, right? What do they bring to the table? And so if you want to think of it that way, it is a version of an AI career thinking partner. And it looks something like this. Now, the way that GPTs are designed, you can start with a few questions that are really just, hey, here's a question if you don't know where to start. But you can also just start typing. And when we build ours, it'll be the exact same thing. You'll have your questions that you can put up there, show you how to do that, but you can also just type something. Just to make things easy, what kind of work makes you feel your best? What strengths do you have that aren't on your resume? So, okay, what kind of work makes you feel the best. So I've kicked off this agent. Now, think about this. This agent will reside and it will stay there, and I can keep talking to this over and over and over. It gets to know me. I can put files in here. But in this particular example, it starts with great question, don't have a personal best moments, but I'm built to shine when I help you find that clarity fast, yada, yada. What name should I call you by? Floyd. And we're now thinking with this agent. Since I don't know how to start, I built the agent to help start for my clients. And this one says, tell me about a time when you felt completely in your element at work. We were missing a deadline, and my colleagues weren't helping. I came up with a great opener and played the part of a coach and introduced myself and my presentation in front of 300 employees, and it was a total hoot. This actually happened, so this is real. So well, it says, let's see what it's kind of helping here. Oh, interesting. Like from what you sound, it sounds like you shine when there's a gap up front, no clear opening, low energy. You step in, set the tone, so on and so forth. What kind of problems do you instinctively jump in to solve? I solve the hard problems that most people avoid. I'm not going to do this over and over, but I want you to get an idea. I've built this so that it will continue to ask me and my clients questions until they're understanding of, I have now identified your superpower. Are you ready for to you? And they will, right? So I want to show you guys how to build one of these for yourself. So first of all, you need an access to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is free, but if there was ever 20 bucks that you were going to spend that's worth it, it's this. I'm going to switch to the presentation. I think, Shellen, did you want to kind of talk about, I liked your idea of sharing what is the ROI for what we're going to do today?
Yeah, absolutely. I can just share from personal experience. One of the difficult things personally and for many of the clients that I've worked with in the past, it is really challenging to kind of think through your own career. Often our strengths, our talents, things that make us unique don't feel that way to us, but it does to others. And it's a brilliant way to leverage AI. And so taking the time to learn how to, and you'll find out, just a moment, how simple it is to create your own GPTs, and you can create versions of this in a variety of LLMs, and how to set up, and we'll do this next, a project orientation so that you can do this work. And then over time, it'll just get better and better, is incredibly it saves you so much time, but it really gets to the richness and the uniqueness. And when those either challenges come up in life and something unpredictable happens, you can react quickly and have what you need to, continue to thrive. Or if opportunities present themselves, you can be prepared. So I've found this to be an incredible enhancement to anything else that I have experienced. And I think it's going to be really interesting for you. If you haven't had a chance to build a custom GPT, that's what Floyd's going to help with next. And then you'll be able to see how you can create something similar in a variety of different areas. And then we'll transition, and I'll share with you how to have a project orientation so that you can really train this to be just your best thinking partner.
Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Before we go on, I want you to get close to your computer. I'm going to be asking questions, and I want your answers to come in the form of an emoji or a series of emojis. I'm trying to think of fun ways to make this as much fun and interactive as possible. And I have used this before. So there'll be places along the way that I'm going to ask a question, and I want an emoji. And so I really hope that you'll participate with that. All right. Build your AI career thinking partner. It's designed to create clarity, confidence, and momentum. But what I really wanted to do, why I wanted to do this, I wanted to host this because careers feel heavier now than they used to, not just emotionally, but cognitively. People are carrying more decisions, more uncertainty, more second guessing than they were even a few years ago. Things are really getting complicated. People are getting stressed about this kind of stuff. Today is about changing that. And so our ultimate goal is to do that. Now, who's this for? Well, it's for people who are capable, experienced, and are doing the work already. But you feel like the thinking part of your career has gotten harder to manage. Back to that, why we're doing this in the first place. Now, especially if you've ever thought, I'm doing a lot, I'm just not sure it's adding up, this is for you. You are the person that this AI agent, this GPT is for. The last thing is to keep in mind this, and it's really important. People learn when you ask questions and don't just absorb, but try to get into this. Again, that's why the emoji thing. So keep in mind, this isn't a one-way talk. By the end of the session, you'll have started a real personal GPT, not to replace your judgment, but to support your thinking. And that's super, super important. Never, never should AI replace your thinking. It should be used to help you improve your thinking. You don't need to be technical. You don't have to move fast. The goal isn't to finish something perfect today. It's to experience what it feels like to think with a partner instead of all by yourself. So that's why we're building this. Now, you'll see a person over on the right-hand side. Her name is Ellen. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Ellen because Ellen becomes the story that we kind of interact with throughout this short course. So let me tell you about Ellen. Ellen works for a company that designs and manages large-scale HVAC and building systems for corporate campuses, hospitals, data centers, high-stakes environments where a single bottleneck can cost millions. On paper, she's a data analyst, but anyone who's worked with her knows that title barely scratches the surface. She's quiet, but don't mistake that for small. Ellen's not the loudest person in the room. She has never been. She doesn't posture in meetings. She doesn't jump into office debates. She does drink her coffee from a flamingo mug that somehow makes its way into every meeting, virtual or in person, like a personal watermark. And there she is holding her coffee mug. People mostly know her as that lady that's really good with data. But when something breaks, when a system crashes or a department's flying blind or someone mutters, oh, this is a mess, that's when somebody says, get Ellen. She doesn't show up loud. She just shows up ready. Now, as you can imagine, Ellen isn't a real person. She actually isn't one person. She represents the recurring pattern I see across many of the capable, high impact professionals that I work with on a daily basis. The details have been anonymized, but the changed pattern that you're going to see in our story about Ellen is real. So as we get moving forward, just a little introduction about Ellen and what she's all about. And we'll move to our first slide. I mentioned this to you a second ago. Careers feel harder now than they have ever felt in the past. This is the first place that I'd like you to kind of drop an emoji. Emoji. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if your career thinking feels heavier than it did 3 years ago. So basically, how does your career thinking feel right now to you? So drop an emoji in there. The fire emoji, it's lit. But how are you guys thinking? I saw Jeremy. Jeremy, thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate that. I think that was from before, but hey, you're into the emoji thing, and I appreciate it. Anybody else? Or how about this one? How about this one? If your career thinking had a weather forecast, what emoji would that be? Is it a cloudy day? Is it a lightning storm? Is it a hurricane? Are you sitting on the beach somewhere in a nice day? So what is your emoji representation of your career thinking sit right now? Give you guys just a minute to chime in there. So the first question is really, where do you feel this right now the most? I'm going to start myself just to kind of give us an idea. For me, the hardest part's watching smart, capable people second guess themselves because the rules keep shifting. Donna chimes in. She said, this approach is exactly where focus should be for those who are freaking out about AI and how it can alleviate already existing skills. I appreciate that. We shouldn't be afraid of AI. And in fact, AI is going to be there no matter what. And Nadia, thanks, Nadia. Hurricane, okay. Or yeah, I guess that is a hurricane. Yeah, that's actually, I think most of the people feel that same way. Thanks for chiming in, you guys. So anyway, what I was saying, for me, the hardest part's watching smart, capable people second guess themselves because the rules keep shifting, and they do. Or how about this? When I say harder, people usually don't mean I don't know what to do. What they're thinking with the harder is they're saying, I'm doing a lot, but I'm not sure it's adding up. And let's look at it, I guess, a little bit deeper. If we were to really kind of bring it down to everything, if this resonates at all, where does this idea of feeling harder right now show up the most? Is it in the clarity of your message? Confidence, that's one of the first ones that starts going when all of this happens. Layoffs for sure. Decisions, how about direction? And I see Donna also mentioned here, she said it's a lack of research and true understanding by so many. Yeah, and oh, Jeremy's got the sun peeking over the clouds. Jeremy, I appreciate that. I like the positive image there too. Anyway, the point of all of this is we're going to talk about this, but the goal is ultimately to think about where does this fit in this idea of I need a career thinking partner. Now, you can go get a coach, and I think you should. That's what I do for a living. But in general, I think you should. There's a bunch of reasons why. But even if you're not ready for that, and that's okay, what I hope that you do is take away from this class, build your own career thinking partner, and we'll talk about that more as we go through. Now, let's get back to Ellen. Ellen's good at her job. People trust her. When something breaks, we know that someone says, go get Ellen. But here's the thing. Here's what matters the most for today. Ellen didn't feel stuck. She really felt mentally tired. So why did she feel mentally tired? Well, she was constantly thinking about how to make things work better, but she was carrying that thinking alone. And again, imagine, put yourself in Ellen's shoes, right? If you're in Ellen's shoes and you're the one that has to make things better, and you have delivered continually on this idea of making things better, she's carrying a pretty heavy load. Now, that same idea for a career, same thing, right? It's just a heavy load. And that's where the real problem starts to show up for us. But it is also the same place that it showed up for Ellen. So I guess my question to you now, from an emoji perspective, if Ellen sounds familiar, drop in some emoji that helps me understand how you see Ellen and you kind of being on the same page. You can clap it. I see Donna put in a bullseye. I like that. That was for an earlier comment, but still, if Ellen sounds familiar, drop in how you see Ellen, how you and Ellen kind of see things eye to eye. And give you guys just a second about that one. I appreciate the interaction. This makes it a whole lot more fun for me. So Nadia, Jeremy, Donna, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys getting involved. So let's look at the next one. We talked about the career feels harder right now, but here's the next idea to think about. It's not anything, it is a signal problem. Now, this is a new concept. I say it's a new concept, it's not really, but it is, the career coaches are not talking about this. And I'll tell you why as we get through it, because it'll be clear when you kind of get it, right? Anyway, let's talk about the signal problem. Most people think they're stuck because they need more effort. They have to apply to more jobs. They have to do more networking. They have to find more jobs. They have to days and hours and all of this time spending on the effort of looking for a job. What I see is something completely different. What's missing is their signal isn't clear. It's not clear across their resume. LinkedIn doesn't match the resume. Their conversations, whether it's a LinkedIn conversation, or sorry, a networking conversation or a LinkedIn conversation, or an interview, or any of that stuff, that signal is all mixed up. So where does your signal feel the most broken right now? Is it a resume? Is it LinkedIn? Is it networking? Where do you feel that your signal is the weakest in this, not just your job search, but just in describing who you are? So while you're thinking about that, when people tell me they're stuck, it's rarely because they lack experience. That's true. Very few people are lacking experience. What it is, though, it's because different parts of their career are telling different stories. Resumes say one thing, LinkedIn says another, and a lot of people are doing more career work than ever, more application, more networking, more tweaking. And you know, if you guys have seen yourself in that, you know, do you see yourself in this idea? So here's an emoji question, just for yourself. If somebody skimmed your resume, LinkedIn, and the last career conversation that you had, would the story be the same? So emoji time. If someone skimmed your resume, LinkedIn, and last career conversation, would they hear the same story? And I encourage you guys to be honest about this. If they do, that's fine. I'm going to give you an example of a signal might sound like. And actually, I'm guilty of doing this a lot in the past. A signal sounds something like this. Somebody says, well, you know, we need somebody to hit the ground running. And so we want to know how fast, you know, how fast are you going to really be able to hit the ground running? And I used to say, look, I'm a fast learner. I've learned all kinds of software. I learned it on my own. I've never taken a course, yada, yada, right? And you can hear, actually, you guys probably did the same thing. But oh my gosh, rolled your eyes, right? At least internally in your mind. Here's the thing, because I was just saying stuff. I wasn't signaling anything. So here's the version that sounds like the signal. The signal says something like this. Well, that's a good question. It reminds me of an issue I had at one of my last companies. We had a new business intelligence software solution, and I had to get a report out of it. So I had 2 weeks, but I didn't know this business intelligence platform. So I spent the weekend, YouTube videos, online tutorials. I took some different courses, and by Sunday night, I had generated the proposal I needed to, the report that I needed to, and I turned it in Monday morning a week earlier than I was expected to. So you see how that sounds different? Now you're signaling what your value is. You're drawing this, I'm a fast learner, and you're bringing it to a real story, right? So there's this part. I see Jeremy put in a bunch of stuff, a little bit of a, not sure. And I'm sorry, I can never remember if that's the guy or girl. Sorry, I just don't know what that one is. Anyway, I don't know the greater than and less than signs either. Somebody said something about crocodiles beating the biggest thing, and anyway, Eric puts in, I feel like that's missing the point. I feel strongly all the way through, but it's just not landing. When I reach out, I don't get calls. When I get calls, I don't hear back. I feel like I have a strong game, but it doesn't get traction in the market. Okay, and that's fair. I appreciate you being direct and open and on this, transparent. Competing with internal candidates and having been referred to certain companies and not getting the traction I should based on my accomplishments and recommendations. Again, the same thing. Don is saying kind of the same thing. We think we're saying the same thing, and you may be, but this is where the idea of having a career partner, talking partner, helps the most, right? So let's kind of go back to Ellen. On paper, the Ellen's title says data analyst. We talked about that in the beginning. In reality, though, what she was doing was eliminating bottlenecks and stitching systems together. Nothing was wrong with her work. The signal just didn't capture her value. So the problem wasn't the ability, it's visibility, and trying to solve that visibility problem all by herself. And so, yeah, same thing, right? We know the story of Ellen, and if Ellen worked in your company, you would know that she did stuff. But if she had come in and written a report for your organization, and she wrote that report in 2 hours when everybody else was saying it was going to take 2 weeks, you would have a different feeling about Ellen, because you know what she does. And that's the idea, is really to help translate that signal into some sort of conversation. So that's our signal problem. All right, talk a little bit. Now, AI is a thinking partner. We're almost to the part where we're going to build this thing, but we do need to explore AI as a thinking partner. So my question to you guys, as an emoji answer, when you hear AI for careers, what is your gut reaction emoji? AI for careers. So let's see how people feel about AI and all this kind of stuff. So when you hear AI for careers, what's your gut reaction emoji? Give you a second to kind of think through that. By the way, again, really appreciate you guys being open and transparent with your ideas and thoughts. That's how I think we get the most out of this when we have learned, and we can be open and transparent. We learn from each other, but we also open ourselves up for an opportunity to learn from something. So when you hear AI for careers, what's your gut reaction? I'm going to keep going, but feel free to put that in as you're thinking about it. Now, most people use AI to get answers. We all have done it, right? You go into ChatGPT and you say, why is peanut butter so smooth on the top? Okay, maybe that's just me. But, you ask those, questions. Is it really a good idea to own a Weimaraner? And the answer is no. But anyway, Michael says, the ATS. Yeah, I think you're the big black box that scares everybody. Back to the idea here, the real value is having somewhere for your thinking to land instead of carrying all in your head. And you guys know this, right? If you go to coffee with a colleague, and it's a business colleague, you start having this conversation with your colleague and it's a bounce back and forth, right? And that's where you really open up. And so we're talking about kind of that same thing. Instead of asking AI to write your resume, though, we're going to ask it to challenge how you're positioning itself. So AI, again, as I mentioned before, should never be do something in AI, copy it and paste it in. It is never a substitute for your own critical thinking. So as we got, Michael had said ATS, Nadia did the, I think that's the shocking emoji with a shooting star. And let's see, Jeremy has the heart with the thumbs up with the understanding that it's a tool. Fair enough. In what context are they for career? I understand their value, but I have to ask. So Donna, you're saying in what context are they for careers? I guess I'm assuming you're saying AI agents or just AI in general. If you're talking about AI in general, as an example, I do have my clients, especially when they start working with me, use a resume tool. One of the tools that I have on that platform that you saw, it takes 3 or 4 of your resumes, because we have a 15, 20-year history, and some of us even more. Even if somebody who has 10, 12 years of career history doesn't provide the same resume now that they used to. I have an agent that pulls in all the resumes, deduplicates everything, includes every bullet point for every job that you've had, and applies what it thinks are some competencies. So one example would be to use AI to create that, what I call a baseline resume. Then you could put that in an AI agent that will write your resume based on the context or the tone or the signal that it picks up from a job description. And then it goes through and determines which of those really helps put together the best story. Now, when you're done with that, you should never, ever just copy send. You should look at that and go, now that it's done the 80% of the heavy lifting for me, that AI agent, now I can go through and say, if I'm a human reading this, does it help me? Do I need to change this? But you've done 80, 60%, whatever the number is, of the work by the AI agent. You now put your top 20% or 40% of the time into making sure that that language in that resume matches. So that's one way of using it. But we're going to talk about in a second, you'll see it, building this AI career thinking partner. That's where AI can help you, because it'll help you ask yourself the questions that are in your head. So hopefully that does answer the question. If it doesn't, I think, Donnie, you'll see this at the end when we get to actually creating it. Now, here's an example of a prompt. This is not the end-all prompt, but imagine a prompt that goes in and says, and so for those who are maybe not familiar with the way AI agents work, if you're in a conversation with ChatGPT, you would ask it a question, and it will give you an answer, and then you ask back. So a ChatGPT conversation is literally just a conversation between two people, you as a human brain and AI agent or AI ChatGPT as an AI brain, right? But it's trying to get you to think different things. So the prompt in that case might start with, help me think through how I'm presenting my experience and tell me where it might be unclear or contradictory. So it would need the the job description. It would need your resume. But what you're asking it to do is go do a task. But then when you're done with that, it's going to go back and forth. And you need to be able to feel free calling it out, saying, I don't agree with that. Or can you explain that better? So anyway, that's an example of kind of a prompt. But we're going to build our own. It's going to give a lot more depth to it. Let's continue the conversation. What's one career question you'd rather think through than get an answer to? And this is a hard one. I get it, right? We're used to thinking about, I need an answer for a thing. But what's one career question you'd rather think through than get an answer to? And for me, I that career superpower was for me, that I designed it for myself, to say, what is that secret thing that I bring to things? And I just sit there and spend time with it and give it stories, and it asks questions and I give more answers to it. And what I get out of it isn't necessarily an answer. I get clarity about, oh, that's what you bring to the equation. So that's an example of kind of an example of an answer that I want to think through rather than get an answer, 47. Think about how to use, think about how you would use a smart colleague or a coach, right? If you had a coach there, or a smart colleague that kind of knew you, what would that conversation be? Now, you're not having this for answers, but really to say things out loud and hear them push back. I operate very strongly in that area of, I throw out an idea and I get an idea back. And so I learn a lot from this back and forth conversation. AI can play that role if you treat it that way. So let's get back to Ellen as a story. Ellen didn't use AI to replace herself. That would be nearly impossible. But I'll get to Jeremy's question in a second. So Ellen didn't use it to replace herself. She used it to externalize her thinking, to test ideas and see her impact clearly. AI wasn't the multiplier. Ellen was, because it's her brain, her way of thinking. But AI helped her get that out. Now, what we're going to do next, and we're going to go straight into that after this, and I answer some questions that might have come up. What we're going to do next is I'm going to give you a version of that, not to automate your job, but to support your thinking the way Ellen supported her thinking. So that's really what we're going to do here, and I think you'll get some clarity when we get to that. Jeremy asked the question, longevity of the role. That's a good. How long is the role going to last? How about this one? AI. Is AI going to replace my job? Well, that's not a yes or no answer. It depends on multiple things. I do have an AI. Is AI going to replace my job? Agent. But again, it's really designed to just get you thinking about what is it, and is AI going to think, is AI going to replace my job? But anyway, okay, I'm going to go to the next slide, and we're going to start building your own GPT. Now, before I move on, I wanted you to see this. This is in the presentation. It'll be in the folder when we're all done. But what this is this is how we're going to get started. So if you get lost, and I'm going to really work hard so that we don't get lost, but if you get lost, then what you'll do is go back to this slide. You're going to create a GPT over on the left-hand side. Once that's done, a window will pop up. You're going to create, meaning I want to create my own GPT. This screen will pop up with two tabs, a create and configure. I'll show this to you in a second. So the third thing you would do is take a prompt, and I'm going to show you how to get the prompt out. But take a prompt and put it in this tool down here. That is the prompt to create the agent. And then once that's done, on this configure tab, I'll show you how to play with all of this. But if you get lost, this is your map to get where you're going to go. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. And I would like for you guys to go to your AI Career Thinking Partner folder. I believe that you would do that by going into, you click on that QR code at the top. I think that's still there. Yeah, it's up at the top. You're muted. It's okay. That's usually my job.
You can also go to it by there's a comment in LinkedIn that says resources, and there's a link to the Google Drive in case you are on your phone.
Okay, good. All right. So in that AI career thinking folder is a document. It's called your career thinking partner prompt. And I would encourage you to open up that. I'm not going to share it on the screen because it's just sharing for no reason. But in that folder, you'll find the career thinking partner prompt, and I want you to open it up. And let me check and see where everybody is while we're doing this. Okay, Eric asked the question, are you going to build custom GPTs or are you going to be creating an agent? Well, we're going to be creating a custom GPT, which is kind of an agent. So the answer is kind of both, but it is technically called a custom GPT. So, but thanks for the question. Okay. Let's see, get to the right sharing of screens here. So I'm not a multitasker. I tell this to Shellen all the time that I'm not a multitasker. And then, yeah, it's not my thing. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to share my Chrome tab. And I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to start a new chat for a reason. I'll show you why we're going to do that. The career thinking partner prompt says, the first thing it asks is, I'm going to build an AI career thinking partner in ChatGPT as a GPT. I need a starting prompt. So that's, before I even build my ChatGPT or my GPT, I'm going to start with a prompt. Now I have a prompt for you there. Feel free to use that. But what I'm really kind of trying to get you to realize is that you can use a conversation in ChatGPT to get started and start doing things to build a prompt. So that's what I'm going to start with. Now, I don't know what's going to come from this prompt. And I guess one of my reasons for starting with this is this. Sheldon talked about the ROI. The ROI of a tool like this means, and this is why it's important, you'll do some work, you'll try it and test it out, the answer you want right away. You'll feel to go through this, but you then, and you'll go into GPT and ask in ChatGPT, not giving me what I want. I need it to give me something a little bit more. Or you can also do this in the GPT itself, and I'll show you that. Regardless, what I asked it to do was create a prompt, a starting prompt. It says, hey, love this move, because it's always nice and positive. Here's the durable system prompt. And so we can just take this and put it in. It talks about what you are, what you're not, default response structures, tone, first message to the user, and you just take this output prompt, copy it, and we're going to use it when we build our GPT in just a second. So again, this is just ChatGPT saying, hey, I need a prompt to build me an agent or a GPT. So what would give me what I'm looking for? And again, in that document that I asked you to open up, there is one there. But I want you to start thinking about AI as helping you, not fighting against you. All right, so let's start with the GPT part. Here it is, up at the top left, explore GPTs. This is where I told you on that map on that other slide, it'll have you go here first, explore GPTs. All right, gonna click on that. Oh, Donna's sticking with her emoji. She likes this is fire. I like it. All right, so there's a whole bunch of GPTs. Here's the thing too, there are GPTs for all kinds of stuff. There's GPTs for image generators. You see it right there at the bottom. There are GPTs that other people have made. When you are done, you can share this GPT if you want to with other people. So keep in mind that this is a very common thing and people are learning more and more how to do this. But this is your first one. So we're going to go up at the top right where it says create. So we've gone to explore GPTs. Up at the top right, we're going to create, and it's going to open up a brand new window. Looks just like this. Two tabs. There's a create tab, a configure tab, and then on this right-hand side, you'll see our GPT come to life when we're done. Okay. Now, I could have asked GPT itself to come up with a prompt for itself, but I'd rather do it in ChatGPT. You can do it here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to get I'm trying to actually encourage you to think about things a little bit different and try to, if there's any fear there, take away that fear. Regardless, in the last screen before I copy in, again, you can go to the document that's there and copy it in, and I'm just going to paste all that stuff that I had right in here. And this is why. I'll help you build a new GPT. You can say something like make a creative who helps generative visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps format my code, which you could do. It works very well, by the way. What would you like to make? I want to make this. Act like a calm, sharp, experienced professional who has seen my career paths and knows that none of them are linear. Anyway, that's the one that it wrote. And I'm going to click go. Right. And it's going to do some stuff, yada, yada, yada. That's the official computer term for the spinning sand hourglass, yada, yada, yada. Okay, it's updating my GPT. We'll see it pop up over here in just a second. Oh, looks like it's done. Great, clear orientation. I call it career thinking partner. Okay, you can spend time here or not. Sure, that works. So it's now going to call it that. All of this stuff you can change, by the way, as you can imagine. And it wants to create an icon for me. We all like icons. It'll probably do that next. Generating profile picture. Yeah, it's an icon. And again, you can give it more information if you want. You don't like it, you like it, whatever. We're not going to spend time on that here, but come on now. Yeah, that works. Sure. I like it. Notice I'm just having a conversation with a computer, but it's really, think about it like a person. It's, think you're having a conversation with a person. If you don't like it, don't like it. Say that. But I want to move on here. That's why I'm not fighting it. I actually don't like that, but okay, whatever. All right, here's what we have so far. It's updating the GPT, yada, yada. Remember when I told you, when I started at the beginning, I showed you the career thinking part. I showed you my superpower GPT that I built, right? And it had 3 questions up here. GPT has just said, well, here's the 4 questions that you might want to start with if you don't know what to start with. And you may ask the question, where did these 4 questions come from? Well, I'm going to show you before we interact with this thing. We've been on the Create tab. I want to go to the next tab, which is the Configure tab. Are you guys with me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up or something in the thing? If you need me to wait, you could do a wait hand signal, whichever one that is. Oh, okay, so it says not on the free plan, in case people are wondering. Okay, yeah, fair enough, and my apologies for that. I, as a career coach, especially one that's trying to save people money, I really don't want people spending money. So for instance, I tell my clients, don't spend money on the LinkedIn Navigator until you have a good story. Then if you want to expand the potential of that, you can do that. But until you have a good story, don't spend 35 bucks or whatever it is for the LinkedIn Navigator. Regardless, if you're going to spend 20 bucks, spend it on a subscription to ChatGPT. Now, you could do it on Claude, you can do it, and Gemini is probably free. You can do it and spend your money on different things. But this gives you a good bang for your buck. Okay, Donna's okay, Nadia's okay. Jeremy, I think you're okay because you went through this already enough to tell me this part, so it's good. All right, I'm going to click on the Configure tab. And so remember, Create on the left, there's Configure on the right. It's going to look kind of weird, but this is just the place where all this stuff is filled in. There's the name it gave. Here's the description. Here is the instructions right here. The instructions, arrow right here, that'll make it bigger. And it's just all of this, right? That's your prompt. Now, here's a question. It just made them up, but it made them up. And, if you want to put more different ones down there, you can add a fifth one, you can add a third. You don't have to have any of them. Clarify, skinny reflect. I'm going to get rid of that second one just for you guys to see. See it goes away. There it is. Now here's super powerful. See this upload files here? What you can do here is now you can upload all your resumes. You can upload your favorite job description documents. You can, if you have personality assessments, corporate business personality assessments, put those in there, because it takes all of that as a way to identify what you are like and who you're like, and it gives you better information. So if you put it in here, it will always be available. So that's the part I want to make sure you can do that. Anyway, all of this, and so now I have this career thinking partner, and I'm going to ask, it's going to ask me the first question. I'm going to say, am I overthinking? Let's see. How about this? I'm torn between two paths. Help me think through it. Now let's see what it says. Let me reflect what I hear first. You're not confused. Grounding questions. What are the two paths in plain language? What does each path protect? And it's given me some information here. A useful reframe while you answer. This is very rarely a right versus wrong. It's more often, which cost am I more willing now? And so this real quick. These two questions, here's how you make it better. I'm going to copy these two questions, and I'm going to come over to the create side over here. And my point is, the GPT is asking several questions at the same time. It is confusing as to which one to answer. Here is an example. FYI, if you press your enter key right now in this, and you're not on your phone actually would put a line. If you do enter, it launches it. So control enter gives you an extra space. This is for your benefit only. I'm just going to paste that in there. And so I'm saying, look, it's asking too many questions at the same time. I'm confused. It's going to help me, so I need it to help me. And so I say, okay. And it's going to say updating the GPT. So it's changing the GPT. It's giving it more information. We're coming up on our 1150, so I think we're close at least to having had done this. While this is coming up, I see Jeremy, Donna, you guys are saying you're okay. Are you still okay? Eric, were you able to do this? I don't know. I hadn't heard from you in a bit, but you'd asked if we're going to build custom GPT. Well, we're doing it now, but sure you're okay, right? And here, that's a good catch. You're right to flag it. What you're pointed to isn't blah, 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 blah. I've adjusted so that it asks one primary question, avoids stack prompt, holds secondary angles internally, addresses them later, which I like. Anyway, we'll go back to that, because that's the original question I asked. Let's see how things change. My point in all of this, if it's not behaving like you want it to behave, you need to come back and tell it what you want it to do. Now, you don't have to tell it what to do. You can just tell it, this is not working like I want it to, or this is confusing, or I think this is just plain wrong. And it will guide you into what you ask. Okay, so Michael's good. Jeremy, good. Okay, A is fun, even if it breaks from time to time. Fair enough. Thank you for being honest. And yeah, you're right. It does. All right. So what are we getting from this? Right now, you're not choosing a future. Here's the one question, which is the whole point of it. If you don't move in either direction, what quietly worsens your life? I get bored, and I don't want to be reactive to a layoff signal. I'm just making this stuff as I go, right? And so it's going to, give me things. You have now built, again, it's not perfect, but you have built an AI agent, a GPT, that is now your go-to from this point forward in everything. Now, before we go any further, muy importante. Up here, create. You built it. If you leave now, it won't create it. Move all the way to the top, create it. This is where you can share it. I'm going to just, for me for now, and you probably would, because this is your kind of secret life and secret answers. Your answers, by the way, if you share this, your answers don't go with the agent. It is an agent that starts blank, just like everything else. And so I'm going to go back. Where is it? Starting point, career thinking partner. There it is. I can launch it, and here. Now, last thing, and then I'm done. Almost 2 minutes after. Sorry. Here's the last thing. This is still launch it new, but if you want to keep going with the conversation, down here under your chats is the AI career thinking partner that you launched first time. I click on that to come up with where we were at the end. Important, add your files, your resumes, job descriptions that you like, job descriptions you don't like. Be clear about what you're putting in there. And once you have all of this there, for all of the conversations you've had over time, this becomes an ongoing thing. 2 weeks from now, you can call this back and ask something about the first day that you used it. You could say, hey, a week ago, there was a job that I was looking at. Can you pull that up? Boom, it'll pull it up because you put it in there, right? So that is that. I want to, of course, there's questions. If you have questions, happy to answer them here. I asked you to stick with me for 50 minutes. I'm 2 minutes over. My apologies. But I think you've seen the power of this, but it's not static. It will get better over time if you go back to the original, add more context to it, add more thinking processes to it, and it will get better as a prompt tool, as a GPT or AI agent, if that's what you really want to call it too. Right? Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you guys have any questions, this is a good time. The other thing is there's another way to use ChatGPT, and if Shellen, I know she's there. If Shellen would come out, and if you want to show us how you can use just the project version of ChatGPT,
Yeah, absolutely.
that might be good.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I've found so valuable that I didn't initially, and I think a lot of people will use chats or for whatever, if you're using Claude, ChatGPT, Notebook LM, that people will use chats and then they're kind of starting over and starting over. So my recommendation is to set up a project, and I'll show you. Some of you may have done this in the past, but I am finding that a lot of people are not taking advantage of this. And I've found this to be the most helpful. So you can make sure that you are setting up a project that, and I'll just show you here if you haven't had a chance to use it yet, but there's this project area in ChatGPT. You just create a new project, and for in my case, it may just be my career. And what's powerful about it is as you create this project, it still has the power of the the LLM that you are selecting, but it is going to become really personalized to you. So one of the resources that are included in the Google Drive, which you can scan the QR code or you can use the link in the comments, is a brand document. And it's rather extensive, and you could just take it one step at a time and just update the version. There's an area to show which version it is so that you just grow and establish it. But if you look here, you can add files, and you can have instructions that are important. You add the files. You can decide that if you want to have the memory, but this is where you can put your past resumes that may have things that you might want to pull out for some reason, but it may not be in your current version. things like your assessments, a copy of your LinkedIn recommendations, any recommendation letters that you have. There's just so many things that you can do. And this is going to teach your tool of choice about you, what you value, how you speak, where you're unique. So just to keep that, really simple, just wanted to make sure that we encourage you to take the opportunity to go ahead and work with projects themselves so that you can build that over time. And I've had a chance to be building my project for 2 years. And just every time I'm doing work, it's getting better and better and better. And as I have opportunities or I'm asked questions or want to customize a cover letter, or just explore how could I transition my career story into something that's pivoting for me into this AI space is so interesting. So anyway, that I think you will find that to be time well spent and a good approach.
This is really great, and we showed the two different ways. There's the GPT, which is its own encompassed agent, and then Shellen was just showing you that you can create a project, and in that project are all the documents related to, in her case, a career thing. You could build it around my next party, my next vacation, you whatever you want in there. Deb has asked a question. You shared a Google Doc earlier. Can you share that again? One way, Deb, is you go to the comments of LinkedIn. It'll be there, a URL. But if you scan this QR code, it'll send you to that document, that location. Michael had said earlier, and I think you have the answer to that already. Can these prompts be used in a project the same way? Yes, they would be just for that project, and it more or less the same thing. But a project is really less focused on, well, the GPT just makes it easier to kind of lump all these things together. I guess if you want to think about it that way, it's kind of the same thing. So,
yeah, and I would say
way.
One of the ways that I think GPTs can be so uniquely effective is if, for instance, like cover letters, right? A lot of people frustrated about cover letters or thank you notes or whatever those things are. You can create a custom GPT that handles that, has like the exact template you like to use, can have, most of it done, and you can enter in notes from a particular interview or a particular job profile, and you can just customize it to just do the one thing that you want to focus on. And that's where I've found GPTs to be the most powerful and time efficient. So it's something to just explore and just playing with them. And honestly, it's a great way to practice that in whatever role that you're in or just working, because it's also showing that leaning in and being somebody that is going to be on the team or part of the company that is going to embrace some of the AI tools, because whether we like it or not, that is what's coming. And companies are definitely looking for people who are not going to be too resistant because they have to embrace it, whether they like it or not. So just playing with GPTs and being able to explain how you use that for just a sliver of things that you're working on is a good step forward if you haven't had a chance to do that yet.
This is awesome. So if you'll do me a favor, put your last emoji in there. What do you think about this? Just yeah. What do you think about it? I have yet to see the robot emoji. I haven't seen the alien emoji yet. Just saying, right? There's still room for some creativity here. Donna had mentioned, I want to talk about this. You have to really think about what the question will be, prompt, to get you closer to the viable options. That is true. If you use it within the GPT, it will refine based on your questions. Whereas if you are using it within a project, you have to be very specific about what the prompt is, because that prompt kind of keeps going and going and going and going. You can add another prompt in a project. That's okay. The GPT refines the prompt for that purpose. That's the only main difference.
And I would say the thing that has been probably the most helpful for me is just accepting the fact that if I'm confused about how to approach something, that I just ask whatever tool that I'm working with, that I will ask ChatGPT, I'm trying to do this. Here's a prompt that I have, or this was the approach I was thinking about. What would be a better approach? And it will often just give you something that's so smart and such a great way to approach it. So just using it as a thinking partner about how to best leverage it is a wonderful approach, and has honestly shocked me many times.
Yeah, I like Jeremy's question, his statement. If you like making rabbit holes, GPTs are fun to build. P.S. Send apps. Uh, uh, Most of the agents that you saw on my landing page that had the AI agents, most of those are agents or apps. You put in a resume and a job description, and it kicks out a resume that's designed for that. So yeah, but this is a little bit different. But thank you for that. Jeremy's got the brain. Okay, we don't know, maybe we saw that earlier, but and then thumbs up. We got a clapping with the glasses for Nadia. Thank you, Nadia. No, this is good. Hopefully, Deb, you got the answer to your question. Now, here's great information off. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're trying to do that more, be very specific. So thank you for that. It is 12:01 here at Central Time, so we'll let you guys go. But before you do that, I want to let you know we are going to stick around for a half hour, easy. If you want to get on and share your screen and you want to really work through this, we are here to help in that way. If you want, if you drop off, you drop off. That's perfectly fine. I appreciate and am grateful for you to spend time with us today. Very, very grateful for that. Thank you. And I hope to talk to you guys. Many of you guys are friends of mine that I've known before, and it's good to see you again, and look forward to connecting back up again. So anything else, Shellen, that you want to end with?
I would say I'll just bring up really briefly, we do have a course that we are kicking off, and the purpose of that was giving everyone an opportunity to have a much longer period of time. So we have a 9-week course that is launching. There is a QR code. And it's the two of us working together and really creating the whole suite of assets that you'll need, the talking points, interview skills. We have some wonderful panels that include recruiters, hiring managers, HR professionals, to really leverage these tools in a way that we can't do on a live. So we are excited to launch that. And then we will be back on Tuesday with a live very much focused on LinkedIn and leveraging it, and also leveraging AI to help you really maximize the impact and the reach that you have on LinkedIn.
Do you have a slide or anything with that course URL? I know you have it. You have it on your LinkedIn profile. So if you connect with Shellen, up at the top it has a website, and you can go to that.
Yeah, also, there is a QR code up here in the corner, and I'll
that's the course one. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'll put the link in LinkedIn. There is a slide that's supposed to be showing up right now, but for some reason it is not wanting to come up. So, but I will put the link in the LinkedIn comments area, but it is in that QR area as well. So we've had a great time creating something that was what I certainly wished that I had access to, that sort of blend of expert career coaching and just very powerful AI tools, and setting up something that will last into the future for a long time.
Awesome. We'll let you guys go. Thanks for spending your lunch hour with us. And we are going to stick around. If you guys want to, again, jump on the, get on and show your face, and we work through whatever you want to do. So we're here for easy 30 minutes. If you need more, you need more. We're fine. So thank you. Let you guys go.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Well, I guess the chats were done on the LinkedIn side. Yeah. Or wherever people join from. Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, and if you have any questions or need help with anything, feel free to add it to the comments. Otherwise, we will wrap today. I am adding the link to the LinkedIn comments now. All right. Are you seeing anything, Floyd? Otherwise, we can say goodbye for this week. And
Yep, that works.
okay,
Thanks,
perfect.
everything. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye.
Appreciate it.